The financial sector serves as a key player in monitoring transactions to ensure against money laundering and terrorism financing, and is subject to stringent regulations around this. In line with international agreements and to guard against dodgy transactions, financial institutions have traditionally screened counterparties in cross-border transactions. But a directive from the Reserve Bank in 2022 related to the Financial Intelligence Centre Act, in its bid to help the country get off the grey list, is encouraging the sector to now screen domestic transactions as well. Bankers argue that it makes no sense to screen every single domestic transaction, given the sheer scale of millions of transactions done daily between the banks. They say that given the due diligence processes involved in onboarding new financial clients in the first place, screening of domestic clients' transactions should only be done on a perceived risk basis, not just willy-nilly.
Domestic screening needs to be performed to address a risk. We firstly have to understand exactly what is that risk that we are trying to mitigate. And once we understand that risk, then we need to look at all the current surrounding processes that we are currently doing with our customers, and whether any of those controls that we have in place mitigate the risk that we are still also trying to mitigate through domestic payment screening. So we need to clearly understand the risk, understand what gaps there are, and then we need to fill those gaps.
If the financial sector does screen domestically, as it does for cross-border transactions, this implies added time, added manpower, added cost, and a ramp-up in costly technology to make this happen. At the same time, screening processes are likely to delay real-time transactions, frustrating customers in the process. The London Stock Exchange Group organised this gathering of financial regulators and the financially regulated precisely for the purpose of exchanging ideas around the execution of policy, in the hope that as discussion takes place, there could be a meeting of minds about the way forward.
The current issue that South Africa faces right now is greylisting. We want to be partnering with the entire community to help South Africa come out of that grey list as soon as possible. So, all these things makes it very important for us to engage the entire market, regulators, banks, payment service providers. And what we do here right now is we actually offer them the platform. As you heard in the previous session, we were providing a platform for different kind of views to come up so that the eventual goal of moving forward is achieved quickly.
Ultimately, there's an understanding among players on both sides that certain regulatory goals need to be achieved, but there'll always be a difference of view around the how.
The regulators and the supervisors are also in a very difficult position in that they are, from a grey listing perspective, there are very certain time periods that we want to have things done by in order to get off. A lot of the stuff that needs to also be done is not a quick fix. It takes time to get that in, and I think that gatherings like this one is important because it brings the regulatory bodies and the industry together, and we can understand each other's challenges. At the end of the day, we are not fighting each other. We want to do what's best for the country. So we need to sit together and design the controls to the benefit of the country.
Other areas where even more work needs to be done include the issue of greater transparency around individuals' beneficial ownership in companies, as well as a well-resourced prosecuting authority that is able to successfully prosecute financial crimes and put the perpetrators behind bars, among others. South Africa's next meeting with FATF on how it's progressing in addressing the deficiencies that led to the country being greylisted is in October this year, with National Treasury intent to have this adverse status removed from the country by January 2025. Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.